Welcome to Copytraders Club, where you can learn how to make more money copy trading. I'm Gavin Macaulay, my name and username on eToro. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Today we chat with a copy trader from Ukraine who also invests in real estate, crypto and more. And she documents it all on YouTube. Here we go. Episode 26 of Copytraders Club, and today, bringing some much-needed feminine grace to the Copytraders Clubhouse, is Anastasiia Argent, aka AnastasiiaGud. The limo driver is doffing his hat to her as she turns and makes her way up the steps. Anastasiia, привіт, ласкаво просимо до клубу Copytraders.
Дуже дякую.
Ah, dear. That was a hard one.
It's all right. You've done a great job.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you also for being here, Anastasiia, at the Copytraders Clubhouse. We're very excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Okay, I don't know if you've listened to previous episodes, but in order to gain access to the VIP lounge, you have to answer a series of quickfire questions. Ready for those?
Yeah.
Username on eToro.
AnastasiiaGud.
Date you joined eToro.
This was the 1st of August, 2020.
Year of birth.
1991.
Place of residence.
England.
Profession.
Full-time mother.
Briefly state what you aim to achieve on eToro.
I want to get some passive income.
Name one of your investing heroes.
It's pretty standard. It's Warren Buffett.
Name one of your favorite investing books.
Also pretty standard. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That completes the formalities. Let's proceed into our VIP section here at the Clubhouse, the magnificent Copytraders Lounge. Anastasiia Argent, aka AnastasiiaGud, are you ready for this magical transition?
I am ready.
So here we are now in the Copytraders Lounge. Anastasiia, pretty fancy, eh?
Well, yeah.
So you are from the Ukraine originally?
That's right.
Should I say you're from Ukraine?
Ukraine, I think.
Is it annoying when people say the Ukraine?
But you can say the Ukraine. You're the native speaker, so you should know.
Very good. You're from Ukraine, I will say. But you're living in a village somewhere in the UK.
That's right.
I gather. So I always ask people how I came across you. It's pretty obvious. I came across you through your YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I've been watching many of your vids and left a few likes and comments along the way. You have a personal finance channel where you talk about various investments and platforms, including real estate. You recently purchased your first investment property. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's been hard. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Been waiting for a good deal for a year, over a year. I've done a very good profit from my residential property. The whole point of starting investing into other assets was to eventually get to the property investments, because my main idea of investing in general is I don't want to save money for pension and I don't want to save money for the future. But the main idea is to be able to enjoy some passive income right now. And I don't know any other investment assets as stable as property. And property, like the main advantage from your property is that it provides me with the stable passive income from renting it out.
And your channel is all based around your experiences of investing and being in charge of the family finances?
Yeah, I'm the boss of the finance in my family.
And am I right in believing that you made a lot of money on crypto and that went into the property?
That's also true. Yeah. I started investing into crypto in 2016. So when I bought my first Bitcoin, it was only $1,000. And back then I thought it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But I never sold it. I bought my first Ethereum when it was $40. And again, I thought it was expensive. I never sold it. I was just waiting and buying it little by little. I had this money in my portfolio, the profit from crypto, and I sold it only recently when I found this house. I was all the time thinking it doesn't make sense to sell cryptocurrencies until I have a property that I want to buy, because in the long run, I believe in crypto. I think that it will grow further. I think it will be bigger than now, more expensive than now. So now my future plan is to get the income that I get from the property and reinvest back into crypto. But I was lucky enough to take my profits of crypto just before this crash, the most recent crash.
Well done.
Yeah, just luck.
So back to your channel. I think you and channels like yours should be fully supported by eToro. If I was in the marketing department of eToro and I was given the brief to redress the eToro gender imbalance, that would be one of the avenues I would look to. They advertise football and rugby and stuff, and of course women like those sports too, but it's still quite a male-focused marketing drive to go after those kind of sports.
I think they did mainly because when we talk about finance and business, I think it's a male niche anyway, more male niche than a woman niche. I can see it by my audience. It's 90% of my audience are men. What can you do about it? So from my perspective as an individual, I am not interested in football. I don't want to see football in their marketing campaigns. But if I was working for eToro, I would probably target men as well, because this is obviously their main target audience.
I just saw a thing on Twitter there which listed the percentages of women investors, and it starts at 15, between 15 and 25 or something, depending on geography, which is still a sizable chunk. And I think I was planning to talk about this later in the chat, but saying as we're on the subject, if we're talking about the rise of the retail investor and more people are getting into personal finance and platforms like eToro, if that rises in the public consciousness at the same rate between the sexes, that proportion of women will rise. So there's no reason why eToro couldn't be full of women PIs, women copiers, to the same extent as men.
If you think about gamblers, poker players, casino players, you also think about men, right? Mainly. There are some women, but if you go to a casino, probably the majority of players, they will be men. So women are just not in this niche for, I think, certain reasons. But I think, there should be more, because they take everything, well, I don't want to sound like I'm a sexist, but, I think that women take everything more seriously, maybe I should say. Like, they are softer, they are more level-headed, they are not prone to gambling as much as men in general. So maybe that's why when they invest, I think I even read it somewhere, but I don't want to sound like a liar because I cannot prove my words, but I've read it somewhere that on average, statistically, the profits of women's investing are better than on men's.
You heard it here first, listener. Controversial. So you started investing in August 2020, is that correct?
That's right, yes.
And you created your YouTube channel, which is linked in the show notes, in February 2021 to inspire other newcomers and to share information you wish you had when you started. So you're not positioning yourself as an expert. You're simply sharing your journey, good and bad.
That was the main idea of me creating the channel, because when I was doing my research, all the YouTubers, 99% of the channels, they were created by experts who started a long time ago. And now they say, okay, I used these techniques. This was my strategy. And I started in 2008 during the crash. Okay, but this is all irrelevant to what is going on in the market today, because back then there was no cryptocurrency. Back then there was no pandemic. So it was important for me to find someone who I could feel the connection with, that we both go through the same journey. We both make the same mistakes that all beginner investors make. We both have the same troubles. So this was my idea. I thought, okay, if I cannot find a channel like that, I will create my own channel, and hopefully other beginners will watch it and they will find some sort of a friend, like a fellow investor in me for them.
Write the book you want to read, they say.
Yeah.
You and me both. Let me try to create a picture for the listener of how your videos appear. You shoot them at home when you have some time. For example, when your young child is asleep, sometimes awake in the background. Often it's in front of a piece of artwork, a framed picture of a zebra with a few cactus plants and ethnic artifacts, which suggests you love to travel. You sometimes see an acoustic guitar, nylon strings, I believe, sore fingertips, and sometimes also a piano. So somebody in the house is musically gifted. There's also someone who likes foxes. There's a little fox on the piano and a cushion with a fox on it. So that's my detective work. The picture is of a young, surprisingly untired-looking stay-at-home mum handling the family finances. It's a very positive picture. How's that for a description?
It's very good. Apart from the fact that someone is really gifted, musically gifted in the family, I'm not, it's me. I play both piano and guitar, but I'm not gifted. I just learned how to play. So sometimes from time to time, I entertain my family by doing it. But yeah, obviously, if I was gifted, I'd probably create a music YouTube channel rather than a finance.
You just mentioned that most of your viewers are men, and the comments on your videos are usually fine, but there are some that reference your appearance. Probably that's something that most female YouTubers have to put up with. But at least in your case, they're mostly respectful, right?
I think some of them were not too respectful, but I think YouTube deleted them. I never deleted them, but I cannot find them. Or maybe those men decided to make a step backwards and deleted them themselves. I'm not sure. I had a couple of disturbing ones.
I saw one that said something like, they can't concentrate on the subject matter because they're so distracted by how you look. So I wanted to ask you something about that. Since you can see how I look, because we're sitting in the Copytraders clubhouse together, do you think I'm right to continue only with an audio podcast so that people aren't distracted by my mesmerizing appearance? Perfect symmetrical bone structure, lush thick hair, bee-stung lips, etc.
You cannot judge people by their tastes. We all have different tastes. So I'm sure if you start a proper YouTube channel, someone will comment that you are not handsome enough to start a YouTube channel. But
the cheek of it.
You shouldn't. We have a saying, and it's in Russian, but it says, I always think about this saying when I have bad comments or just something bad happens to my YouTube channel. I always think that it says, dogs are barking, but the carriage is moving. Right? Mm-hmm. So I don't pay any attention.
Yeah. I mean, who are these people that annoy you?
Yeah, show me your face. Make a better video.
Yeah.
And then comment.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'll stick to audio only. Thanks for the advice. Let's have a question from the art of people. Would you like to pick a number between 1 and 10?
5.
What's the most exciting thing in your personal life right now?
Oh, it's an easy one. It's definitely my son. He's 16 months old. He is, something not very exciting, but the most exciting thing that has happened to me in my whole life, not just right now.
16 months, that's still incredibly young. You're still in the tunnel of hard work. How do you find time to do all the things you do?
Well, when you described my channel, how you see it, you were exactly correct. So when he's asleep, I record my video during the day. When he's asleep at night, I edit my video. When I have to sometimes feed him, or I just have a free moment, or I have a free day or free evening when I don't need to edit a video, I sit down and I read about the subjects that I want to talk about in my videos. This is how. This YouTube channel gives me a great opportunity to spend a lot of time with my son, because otherwise I'd have to go and work. And then what? A proper 9 to 5, I wouldn't have any time to spend with my family.
So Anastasia, you started on eToro in August 2020, is that correct?
That's correct.
So before me, so you're more of an expert, I can ask you questions. Tell me about your experience of signing up to eToro. How good a job do you think they did of welcoming you into the eToro family upon registration?
They've done a great job. I made a mistake when I registered originally because I used my husband's PayPal address. At that moment, I didn't have my own one because I never needed one, always used my husband's address. And then I realized that I couldn't do it because of a different name. So I had to contact their customer service, and they responded within a couple of days, and it was resolved straight away. So I initially had a very, very positive experience with eToro and with their customer service.
It's good to hear. Normally, you only hear of the bad customer service experiences.
I had a not so good customer service experience later, but my first initial one was good.
I asked that question and I was expecting you to say, I didn't feel particularly welcomed, because I didn't feel particularly welcomed. Insofar as I'm always complaining on the podcast that I signed up and nobody said, hello, thanks for joining us. Here's how you use everything. Here's a series of introductory videos. This is what copy trading is. This is how it works. This is the platform. Press this button, one by one, step by step. And I compared it to when I started podcasting. Buzzsprout, the company I use to host my podcasts, had an incredible series of videos. I knew absolutely nothing. And I would just watch 2 or 3 videos a day, 5-10 minutes each. And the knowledge builds up in your head to the point where you become very comfortable that you know what you're doing. My experience at the start of eToro was being all at sea. I didn't know where to begin. I know there's a guide on the site, but those things aren't usually that great, and I never use them. I relied on social trading vlogs, YouTube channel, Tom West, you know him?
Yeah, I know, I watch him.
Do you agree that there should be more of a hand holding when you join?
It wasn't a problem for me. When you talk about it, I think to myself, yeah, maybe. But I think it's a very nicely made, clean platform, very user-friendly, easy to understand, easy to navigate. So I didn't feel the big need in that. Even though it was my first ever experience, it was all right for me.
I think it's easy to navigate. It's very easy to go from a standing start to copying someone. Sure. In fact, that's part of the problem. It's too easy to do that without fully understanding what everything is and what all the settings are and what all the pitfalls are. That's more what I mean. Not the mechanics of it so much as the mindset and what can go wrong and what decisions you have to make along the way, that sort of thing.
I agree. And as well, if you want to learn these kind of things, you will find a way to learn them on YouTube or anywhere. Yeah, you can read the information on the eToro website itself. And if you don't want to learn it, you'll just skip through all those lessons, even if they are offered to you. So unless they make it so that you must listen to these lessons and learn them until you are allowed to trade, then I think in most cases it will be useless, because people will just skip, because all they want to do is just invest as much money as possible from the day one, and they will not look at all the information that is given, that is there for them.
Sure, there'll always be a a section of the users who just want to get on with it and don't pay too much attention. A lot of copy traders seem to act very rashly.
And then blame popular investors for that.
Right. Or eToro.
Oh, eToro.
But if I was running the show, I would make sure that those who want it can be well educated. You know, if someone walks into your store, you want one of your staff to say, hello, can I help you with anything? You don't just ignore them and hope that they find the fruit pastels or whatever. In your third ever video on your channel, you said you only started a few months ago and you're so happy with your results, you wanted to share what you'd learned. Then 2 videos later, the title is How Much Money I Lost on eToro. So that was fun. I looked at your first few videos about copy trading. Can we run through some of those and then you can tell me if your thoughts have changed from those earlier days or not?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, here are a number of the things that you said were important to you in the beginning. The number of copiers is a stat you found persuasive because they are votes of confidence. Do you still feel that?
I still feel that. That has never been the main stat that I paid attention at. But yeah, of course, I trust the person more if this person has many copiers.
Okay. I'm not sure I do, to be honest. The wisdom of the crowd. I don't trust the wisdom of the crowd generally in life. You know.
That's why you probably saw that I don't copy only the most copied popular investors. I also have some completely new ones.
Sure.
But yeah, I pay attention at the number of copies.
Okay. You like a long track record?
That's probably my favorite stat. Yeah, I like to see that the person has been registered for a long time and has a good statistics from the previous years. I always pay attention how they performed during the cryptocurrency crash in 2018. That's important. And how they recovered. This is how I can understand that if this person invests into cryptocurrency and the crash happens again, how they can recover. Not only that, but also how their brain works, if they are mentally prepared. If they lived through it once, they probably can live through it second time and recover again.
You like lots of green months?
Who doesn't?
But does the frequency of green months mean something significant to you?
Yeah, I like stability. I like stable, popular investors. Those who are up and down, and I copy someone like that. It's okay, but I will not put more money into such people because I worry about it and I don't want to worry. I do it so that I can sleep in peace without thinking about my money. I want to know that someone takes good care of my money. And if someone has minus 20 1 month and then plus 10 second month and then minus 30 again, I worry about it. I think about it.
Even if you're comparing two and one is stable small returns and small annual returns compared to a guy who's up and down but overall has higher returns, you'd rather the stability?
How big a difference are we talking?
I don't know. But we'll get on to that later.
It has to be.
We'll get on to that later when we
someone...
look at your individual PIs that you copy.
Okay, if the difference in their returns is not big, then of course I prefer stable but smaller returns rather than not stable and higher returns, and also it depends then on how many years this person could show stable high returns for. If it was only 2 or 3 years, this person could have been just lucky.
Sure. And it's an emotional game we're playing. We try not to be emotional, but, it depends on how frequently you're checking your account. And I think most eToro users check their account all the time.
Yeah, I think I'm getting better and better at this. I used to check several times a day, but since I started YouTube channel, I check my YouTube channel several times a day instead. So YouTube went...
If I wasn't doing this podcast, I wouldn't be on eToro that much. I have other accounts from before eToro days, which I don't look at for a month easily. because I know they're long-term investments.
Yeah.
But because I'm on eToro all the time, I can't get away from it. It's on my phone. I'm looking at it all the time. But I'm still trying to maintain the long view.
Mm-hmm.
And the final point that you said, you like frequency of trades and not too long a holding time. Does that still apply?
Yes, it does. So the logic behind that is that I can buy shares and hold them, just hoping that they will grow myself. I don't need copy trading for that. I need traders who trade actively, because I understand, okay, it's a high risk, but at the same time, it's potentially high returns. And for those goals, I'm using copy trading. So that's why I don't want to copy someone. I do copy some people who hold positions for a long time, but I don't invest much money into those people.
Do you watch Felix Falix videos?
No, I don't.
Do you know of that channel?
Just because of the document that you sent me.
Okay.
And this question, so obviously I checked it out, but no, I don't.
Well, I recommend them very highly as an education into the intricacies of eToro.
Yeah.
It's very useful for revealing incorrect assumptions that you might have made. That's certainly my experience of watching his videos. Some things he shows me, I learned for the first time and I couldn't quite believe it was the case. Your portfolio and investing approach now. You started off mostly with Blackstar PIs. There's a video then from March 2021. And when I went to check out the difference between your PI lineup then and your PI lineup now, I was expecting to see lots of changes. But I was surprised. They're all still there. All the original guys. They are Jay Nemesis, Olivier Danville, Wesley, and Jeppe Kirkbond, and also Baltic Seal. And I see you've also added Amar Singh from Singapore. So bravo to you for adopting a long-term outlook. Why do you clearly think that's important for a copy trader?
I've researched these people a lot before I decided to invest real money into them. And when I started, there was no such thing as Blackstar Popular Investor. It was introduced a bit later, a couple of months later. So originally, I can't even remember how I found them. I was just spending hours and hours and hours just looking at different people, just adding them all to my watch list. Started copying them with my virtual account. And then those who I chose, I knew from the very beginning that I trust these people and I will stick with them for a long time. It wasn't a decision that I took over, one day to start investing into these people or to start investing with these people. That's why I didn't change them. Don't see the point. I like my choice. The only change that I may make is invest more money into them, but I'm not gonna change them. Not have a plan. I don't have such a plan. Maybe I will change my views soon, but not at the moment.
Yeah, you don't have a time frame? You haven't said definitely for a year or anything like that?
No, I don't have a time frame. I have doubts about some of them, but I still feel like my patience is not over.
We all have doubts. Tell us about your doubts.
My doubts, well, okay, so Wesley is my biggest, you can say, disappointment, but obviously I'm not disappointed in him enough to stop copying him. It's just out of everyone else who I copy, he just didn't perform because I invested into him, I think, in December, from what I remember, and we are not even back to zero. So I think it's a bad result, especially because everybody else shows better results. And yes, I know he's waiting for China to recover, but if something doesn't work for such a long time, maybe you should change your plans. But again, I am not the person to say, if you watched my recent video about who shouldn't use copy trading, I said that if you think that you know better than the popular investor, don't bother use copy trading at all. I don't say that I know better than Wesley. I still think that he knows better, and that's why I'm still with him. But I'm not happy with the results because I don't see any results for now.
It's always a question of timing, isn't it? One copier's hero is another copier's villain.
Yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate because Wesley is so highly regarded and he's got such great results throughout history that, he's in a bit of a slump at the moment, it has to be said. So he's in the red and all your other guys are well in the green. Jay's obviously significantly in the green.
That's what I mean. Everybody else is in green. And only one is in red.
Olivier's in the green, but his usual small green gain. Yep, it's quite a small green gain.
Jeppe was red as well for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Baltic Seal. And what made you add Amar Singh to the mix?
He found my YouTube channel and he reached out to me. He spoke about his strategy and he was very confident in the result. And so I gave it a try and I invested the minimum amount that I could at that point was $500. And I stuck with him because I see the results and I like them.
You know, Amar Singh is one of those Singaporean PIs. There's a little group of them. They sometimes make roundtable videos. Have you seen any of those?
Not with Amar, but yeah, I've seen with other popular investors.
Yeah, Bees84 is the guy who makes the videos and Amar's one of his group.
Okay, no, I didn't know that.
So you can check those out at your leisure. So you're happy with Olivier Danville and his incremental monthly gains?
Yes, I am. I know that some people don't like the way he invests, and they usually write about it in the comments under his posts, which I don't see any point in doing. Like, don't copy him if you don't like the way he invests or he trades. But even if he does whatever game he plays, if he wins at the end of the month and then at the end of the year and year after year, you can see the stats. You can see that he's in green. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. He says that he invented his own way of investing. And yeah, maybe he is too careful, but that's already not my problem. Because all I see is green. I like green. It's not a very high number, but it's better than red.
Hope you're enjoying today's show. I'm sure you've subscribed already. If you are a successful copy trader, happy to share what you've learned, there's no need to have a public profile. Get in touch. The bigger the club, the better for you. So tell people on eToro about this show. Ask your PIs to come on. That way you will get to know them better. We build this club together. Now then, you're not a pure copy trader. You also have a number of positions in your portfolio that you've opened yourself. And we're going to run through them. I think it's fair to say that many of them have not been great so far. Now, I know you've done a lot better with your other investments outside of eToro, but we're here to talk about eToro. So this list kind of does read a bit like a who's who of things to avoid. Would you mind if I read through some of the names and their current red figures?
Of course.
You wouldn't mind?
I would. So I don't necessarily want to hear about it. But
All right. Well, we have GameStop minus 25%.
Not bad. It used to be much worse.
Positive mental attitude. I like it. Dogecoin minus 74.
It's a bit harder to be positive here. Yeah. It's quite bad.
NIO, the car company, minus 24%.
Yeah.
Nikola, I nearly described that as a car company, minus 50%.
Yeah.
BlackBerry minus 46%. Coinbase
Oh, yeah. What's Coinbase?
minus 44%.
Yeah.
And to complete the rogues gallery, Naked minus 80%.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to see if I can do any more than 80. If it can be minus 95 or something like that.
Now, to be fair, you do have a few individual assets in the green, but nothing that impacts the combined effects of all those heavy losses. As I say, I know you've done a lot better outside of eToro. But I find it interesting that in one of your real estate videos, you say it's the purchase price that's the most important part of investing into real estate. And don't be tempted to jump in and know the area that you're investing in. Do you know where I'm going with this?
You live and learn.
Yeah. I think you're right about that when it comes to real estate. You're also right about that when it comes to investing in general. So does this suggest to you that you should stick to copy trading, or tell me about your experience of these assets?
The worst performing assets, such as GameStop, Dogecoin, Naked, and BlackBerry, they're all meme stock. And I bought them not thinking that this is an investment. It was a gambling game for me. So it wasn't only my decision. As this one, we sat down with my husband, who is a professional poker player, and he said, okay, sounds like it's a good opportunity to bluff. So we bluffed and we lost, but we were ready for that. As for Nicola, it was my mistake, because previously, before Nicola, there were several times when I was lucky. It was like a little bit like playing in a casino. You know, you choose between black and red, and several times you guess, but the third time you didn't guess. So this was the time when I didn't guess. Neo, I was thinking about invest some money into Neo for a long time when it was about $20 per share. And then obviously I invested only when it was at the peak, because I was waiting for too long, and then it started falling. The good thing is that I didn't invest a lot of money into any of those assets, any of those companies. The biggest mistake I made was Coinbase, because then I invested a substantial amount and obviously losing 44%, and I have no idea when it's going to recover, or is it going to recover. Again, that was the problem of wanting to participate in IPO, because in 2020, during the pandemic, everybody was talking about IPOs, and all IPOs seemed to be very successful for some reason. And then in 2021, this was the time when I think the market started to correct itself, and those IPOs that were originally overpriced, they obviously didn't perform well. I didn't know all this information at that time. As now I'm talking about the hindsight, of course I wouldn't have put so much money. At least I would have waited. But I just wanted to jump into that train because I thought that it was going to take off, which it didn't.
Yeah, meme stocks, IPOs, that whole thing just scares me too much to go near it.
Yeah.
Too many variables.
You are right.
It's hard to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a clue.
Look at me and don't do what I did.
Very good. It's good that you're smiling about it. It's nice that you didn't put too much on most of them, of course. You mentioned earlier a recent video entitled Who Shouldn't Use Copy Trading on eToro, and What Popular Investors You Shouldn't Copy. And I think the thumbnail is very dramatic. The title on the thumbnail, what does it say? Can you remind me? Like, don't copy trade on eToro, ! Or something.
If. There is a little if at the bottom.
Is there? I didn't notice the if. Still clickbait. So don't copy trade if there are 4 points you make. You think you know better than the PI, which you mentioned earlier. You said in your own unique way, where you clip the G's off some words, you said don't be complaining in the posts. Another one was don't invest in someone you don't trust. For example, unverified claims of investing success. The third was if you expect quick returns or if the PI guarantees certain returns. You don't like that. Or don't copy trade if you come across that. And also, I think the most interesting one was don't copy trade if you're a person who wants to learn how to trade yourself, because you're not going to learn anything from copy trading. That's quite an interesting thought. I think a lot of that depends on who you're copying. I see some PIs who could provide an excellent education because of their YouTube channels and things like that. I agree, you're not going to learn anything if you're just passive copier and there aren't any YouTube videos, for example, and you're just watching what's going on a little bit. Then you're going to pick up nothing. But there are PIs like Robert Merck who explains his position in each company and does all the numbers on his YouTube channel. And if your brain can cope with all that information and you're learning as you go, I think people can learn from copy trading. And quite a few PIs like Jay Nemesis and Bees84, people like that, they talk about how that's part of their mission, is to educate people.
But you don't need to copy them to learn.
No, but the act of copying and being engaged with them and therefore following all their posts, their YouTube channel and all the rest of it.
Of course, in a way it's true. What I meant is that if you want to learn trading, you have to go and start trading. You cannot learn how to ride a bike just by watching YouTube videos. You have to go and try to ride a bike because, yeah, they are all individual people who made this or that decision based on the statistics and all the numbers and graphs. And it makes total sense when you listen to them and you think, surely it's clear. It was obvious. But when it comes to making your own decision, I think what you don't understand and what people underestimate is the psychological process that's going on in your own head when you want to make a trade. And it's very easy. Well, what's the problem? Yeah, you buy red, you sell green. Yeah, but when I started doing that, it appeared to be quite hard because you do want to buy green and sell red for some unknown reason. You tell yourself it doesn't make sense and you do it because you're scared, I suppose. I don't know. And this is what you have to learn. And I think this confidence in your own decisions, it comes only with practice.
I totally agree that there's a big difference between theory and practice. There's an American baseball player, Yogi Berra. He is attributed with the quote that, in theory, there should be no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. Although apparently he didn't say that. But I think you can learn a lot from PI's processes that you can then adopt yourself. The steps that they go through and all the factors that they weigh up in the order that they do it. And then you can sort of take that methodology yourself and apply it to your own investment. So there's some things you can learn.
Definitely.
But of course you're right. You have to jump into the pool at some stage. If you want to be an investor, you've got to start investing.
Yeah, if you want to be a trader, that's the thing. That's the difficult thing. Investor as well, of course, but trader is something that I now come to realizing that it's not something that I want to do. I'm not the person who will sit there early morning reading charts and reports of each company. I just can't be bothered.
No,
I have other things to do, more interesting things to do.
I hear you. Absolutely. Let's get back to eToro's marketing strategy. As I mentioned earlier, I don't think it is likely to be getting through to many of the women out there. The young mums, the young professionals, those planning for retirement. And as I say, there's absolutely no reason why eToro should be quite so dominated by guys, by men. Targeted advertising and engagement of women is surely how steps can be taken to close the gap. If you were in eToro's marketing department and they said, "You're a woman, how do we get more of you?" After rolling your eyes at the question, how would you go about it?
That's a good question. If you are a part of eToro club and all the member of the clubs that they have, the highest club was a diamond club, I think. One of the things that you get if you become the member of that club is you get some tickets to some sports events. So why would I care about some sports events? I'm not into sports at all. I wasn't put off by the fact that they were advertising football for me. I don't care about football, but I don't mind it. I'll just turn it off and skip it. But maybe if they were offering some tickets to some events that were more for women, and maybe some fashion event, for example, or something like that, something that's more appealing, that could be good.
Do you know personally any other women who run personal finance channels in the UK?
I don't know anybody personally.
Do you watch other videos?
Yeah.
Mama Furfur?
I know, yeah. I think we're a little bit different. I think our channels are different.
Sure.
I don't compare.
I would reach out to these channels and they all talk about eToro already. There's Mama Furfur, FinPact. Who else is there?
I just wanted to say that I understand why eToro doesn't target women. I understand, because they have to spend so much money on their ads and on their campaigns, and I don't think the return that they get from women would be high enough for them to cover their losses, to cover the expenses. Because there are several reasons to that, and one of those reasons is that, well, as I said, it's the niche that at the moment has more men in it. Okay, we agree with that. Finance in general, finance, business, all that. But on top of that, I think a lot of women, I think women are used to be the minority on websites like that, and we don't mind. I don't know about all women, but I absolutely don't mind. This thought didn't cross my head until you mentioned it. I never thought that, why do they offer to watch football to me when I'm a girl? Why wouldn't they? I think there are girls who like football anyway.
Absolutely there are, but I'm glad you noticed my feminist credentials. Thank you. The issue isn't so much that you're in a minority, you feel like you're in a minority when you're using eToro. But if they talk about the democratization of access to the financial markets, it's a democracy. Everyone. Why should it be so dominated by guys? There's absolutely no reason.
Are they talking about democracy?
They're talking about giving retail investors of every size and shape and color and financial status access to the markets. There are a large percentage of the population that could be getting involved if it was explained to them how easy it is to get involved. As we said earlier, it's super easy to start on eToro. Stick a little bit of money and start copying someone. How easy is that? Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
So if I was eToro, I'd be reaching out to that huge swathe of the population. And I would probably try and do it by encouraging female YouTubers, as that would be one avenue, encouraging them, getting them on board, sponsoring them. Because who watches these channels? You just told me it was all men.
Yeah.
Women who are interested in personal finance are going to be drawn to those kind of channels.
Yeah, but women who are interested in finance would be drawn to eToro, whether they offer you a ticket to football or not. Like, it didn't stop me. I don't think it would stop anybody else. But of course, I know what you mean. Even how they, the main ad that is on YouTube all the time, and this main guy, I think he's an actor, but I'm so bad with actors, especially Hollywood actors. I know his face, but he's also a man.
Alec Baldwin?
I have no idea what his name is, like an old grey-haired man.
Yes, Alec Baldwin.
So again, if they invited some actress woman, for this ad, this could be something. And they could then show this ad to women, because they know, right? They know if it's a man or a woman who's watching the ad on YouTube. So this could be a good idea.
Well, funny you should say that. When I was talking earlier about all the introductory videos that I think eToro should be releasing, they should have for every new user. Which do you want to be, a copy trader, or you want to do your own trading follow this link. Here's 10 videos. Watch them at your leisure before you do anything, before you fund your account or anything. And then there's a series of videos with a couple of presenters hitting all the right notes about how to get started and what it's all about. I was speaking to Sam Rudnick about that. He's the head of the PI program.
Okay.
And I told him I even had a couple of people in mind to present it. In my imagination, it's Tom West from Social Trading Vlog sitting on a desk, behind a desk with an eToro t-shirt on, flanked by Anastasiia with an eToro t-shirt on.
I have a t-shirt on already, a eToro t-shirt, so I'm almost ready.
I think you two would be great presenters for it.
Thank you.
And your non-native English accent would be a bonus in that regard. So one man, one woman, one speaking English as a first language, one not. It's all inclusive. So as soon as you get that gig, you know you've got me to thank.
Okay. I definitely will.
So that's one change I'd like to see on eToro. Can you tell us what changes you would like to see on eToro?
I am very satisfied with how eToro works and looks at the moment and with the services that they provide. I just don't know, speaking about my last video, one of my recent videos where I said that you cannot check the background of the PI. I don't know. I think at the moment you can write anything you want on your profile. You can lie. So I think it could be better if they introduced some sort of checks. If you want to give some information that I've been trading there and there, then you have to show some proof. And not just to eToro, but in general to everybody. And if you cannot prove something, then don't make a statement like that. This would eliminate this problem of not being able to trust some popular investors. Well, and the second thing I thought about was probably the customer service. They have to do something about it because the waiting time to get a response is very long at times. And then you receive an email saying that your issue was marked as solved. They just say, it took us too long and you obviously didn't write us again. You were patiently waiting. That's why we assumed that it got resolved on its own. So we marked it as solved.
That's not ideal.
No, not ideal.
So tell me briefly, what are your future plans for your eToro career?
My eToro career. I'm going to stick with copytrading. I'm going to add more money into the people who I already copy. If I feel adventurous, I might wander off and find someone else to copy. But I don't have a plan to do that right now. I'm going to invest. With this property, I'm going to refinance it. And once it's refinanced, I'm going to put more money each month into eToro copy trading in particular. I don't think I'm going to bother with such risky moves as investing into GameStop. I think I might consider selling those positions. But the thing is, some of those positions are so little, especially now with 80% loss, it's almost nothing. So it doesn't really make sense to sell and get this $10 back and what can I do with this $10? I might as well just keep. And as I said, see how low I can go. If I can go any lower, okay. There will be a good content for YouTube. How low you can go. How many % you can lose on one position.
Okay, final question. If you were in my shoes, what question would you like to have asked yourself that I didn't?
Ask me how many countries I visited.
Okay. How many countries have you visited?
How many do you think?
A lot.
I've been to about 55 countries. And the thing that traveling taught me, and in general, the fact that I come from Ukraine, which is a poor country, that first, you shouldn't rely on pension because pension is never enough. And second, every dollar is a lot of money. Just because I live in England and you cannot do much for $1, it doesn't mean that if I wasn't born in Africa, for example, $1 would be a lot of money for me. So this is something that helped me to create this logic behind investing that I've been trying to explain to you, and I try to explain in my YouTube videos. So I don't want to sound like I don't care about money. Oh yeah, I lost 80% on Naked. I don't care. I care. And I smile about my losses, but what am I supposed to do? I can cry about them or I can smile about them. So I prefer to smile about them. But it's all the process of learning. And as you said, I'm at the beginning of this journey and I'm just waiting to see where it will take me. I hope that other people will give me some good advice and I will follow this advice if I think it's good. I think it's important if you want to understand how the person is trading or investing, you have to know more about the background of this person, where this person is coming from, because psychological part of it is something that no one's talking about. Well, people talk about it, but still, I think they underestimate the psychology behind investing or behind trading.
That's a fantastic answer to that final question. Thank you very much. I totally agree. And in fact, that's part of the reason why I want to talk to PIs, so I can get to know them better and provide a platform for them to express themselves, give a bit of their background, all of that stuff, how they invest, what goes on in their mind, so the copiers can listen to that chat and get a much better feel for them. And of course, your YouTube channel, I'm sure, will go from strength to strength. The name of your YouTube channel is Anastasiia Argent.
Yes, and Anastasia is with double I.
Anastasiia with two I's.
Yes.
Of course, Argent, I don't know if your husband is a descendant from the Norman invasion, but Argent is French for money, so that's very appropriate.
Yeah, but it's not my surname, is it? It's his surname. Mine is completely different. My maiden name,
Well,
I mean.
You've married into Argent.
Yeah.
Okay, Anastasiia, it's been really lovely to talk to you and to get inside the mind of a copy trader who thinks a lot about copy trading. There's plenty of value in there. We need to talk to each other more and exchange ideas. So that's been excellent to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us at the Copytraders Clubhouse.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Many thanks to Anastasiia for that excellent chat. Always good to talk to another copy trader and understand what their thoughts, attitudes and priorities are and how they might differ from your own. You can keep up with Anastasiia on her YouTube channel, link in the show notes. That's all from me. You can continue the conversation on Discord and Facebook. If you like this podcast and want to see it continue, you can do your part by recommending it to one person or group of people this week. Until next time we meet at Copytraders Club, I wish you many happy returns. Obviously, anything you hear in this podcast is for entertainment only, not financial advice. Do your own research. This is just generic chit-chat. We don't know your individual circumstances, etc., etc., and so forth.